Hi everyone. Can I have a show of hands of how many people in this room have installed Docker? Okay, quite a few. And how many have tried to install Docker? Well, it looks like around 25%. And when I first started working with Sean, it took me a long time to install Docker, though I was sitting next to Mike Mendes. It took me 6 months. So Sean kind of inspired me to say, "Look, can you automate the installation?" And I looked at Docker. And we've been working on using Docker to install I2B2 for almost 4 or 5 years now. And we've been using it for research projects. And only recently, we're really looking at if Docker can be used as the default method for installing. So here is a Docker ecosystem that's in the making. I'd like to describe that to you. So you can see that on the left is a GitHub repository that we all use for the I2B2 source code, and then you follow the instructions for installing I2B2. What Docker provides is all that code comes packaged in an executable format. So Docker containers are basically like uh, mini virtual machines, and everything comes packaged, and uh, and you could, just by running one command, have I2B2 running on your laptop or your server within a few seconds instead of taking a long time. But recently, what has happened is uh, there are a lot of uh, security vulnerabilities, not in I2B2, in general, in the open source systems coming up. And that makes it important to really keep those deployments, the deployments that you have or the deployments that we distribute, keep them up to date. Someone should be doing the security scanning. So we are kind of doing that. So we are right now looking at any new threats coming up and trying to resolve them. And we resolve them by two methods. The security fixes, either they're in the code itself, which is more often than not, the vulnerabilities are in some independent libraries. And so we kind of do that, and we release, the plan is to release the containers more frequently, so that sites could just pull the containers and don't have to go do a heavy lift of installing I2B2. This is something in the works right now. It's not yet completely released. We are still looking at the stability and exploring how things are going. So there are three use cases for using the I2B2 containers. One is someone looking at I2B2 for the first time and wanting to explore, oh, what is this really about, and and getting going, get going immediately and putting hands on the I2B2 system. That's a new. So the use case is that the new Docker-based install. So you could have I2B2 running on your laptop within a few seconds, within a minute. I wouldn't say a few seconds, within a minute. So that's the default use case for everyone. This is demo data. Demo data. There's no PHI in it, so that you can play with play with I2B2. It's also helpful for development. If you want to develop something on top, people find these containers very helpful. But usually, people have a production database somewhere, and they just want to have the latest version of I2B2 connect to the existing database, and that's the second use case. So we're coming up with instructions for each of these use cases so that you can use that according to what your use case is. And thirdly is that you have I2B2 Docker running in your institution, and you want to upgrade it because there is some new security patch which has come up, or there is some new functionality which has come up. So how do you update it? So there are three distinct use cases. Obviously, there are others like administration. We're also looking at if we could simplify the administrative aspects of I2B2 so that you don't need a lot of expertise at your site to deploy I2B2. The default use case, you could try this now. If you have a laptop and if you have Docker installed on your machine, you could just run these three commands. I do know git clone. You clone the Docker config files from the net, and you just say, okay, you want Postgres, and you can say Docker compose up I2B2 web client. You get I2B2 running on your laptop within a few minutes, and you just so you can try this out. Okay, this is my last slide. This is the documentation that we are developing around I2B2 Docker. First, I said is a demonstration install, then the production install, and it often comes to there is let's say you're using a cloud, and there might be some cloud specific things which, for example, if you're using AWS, there's a VPN that's a little bit different from Google, from Google Cloud. So we're addressing some nuances in this documentation for that. Sometimes people want to use some other database and it has the GNDI connection string is a bit different. So we are trying to look at those edge cases to handle that. So I said upgrading I2B2, administering I2B2, and development. A lot of people are developing, and Docker really gives you a very robust development environment where you can play around with things and wire the containers the way you want them. Yeah, so that's all I had. Let me stop here and see if there are any questions or thoughts or comments. I think the main aspect is when we have so we have a working group, we have a I2B2 Docker working group, and people who have been coming to it mainly emphasize the security aspect and a lot of time saved in deploying and in deploying I2B2. Okay, that's all I had. If there are no questions, thanks everyone.